welcome back to my channel. As promised, I'm doing Mercury in Aries, right? So this is the beginning of the Mercury series. In this video, we're just going to be discussing Mercury in Aries, and then in my next video, I'm going to be discussing Mercury in Aries through the houses, okay? And once again, I just like to thank, I always have to thank, always have to thank my new subscribers, you know, the people that have been showing me love and giving me comments and like healthy criticism and stuff like that. And I just want to say fuck you to all the fucking haters. You can suck my metaphorical dick, period. And that would be a beautiful segue into introducing the Mercury in Aries, because Mercury in Aries are gonna say it exactly how it is, at least most of them, right? Let's just get straight to it, right? So let's discuss what Aries is and then what Mercury is, right? So Aries is ruled by the first house constellation, which is the house of the self, of yourself, the face, right? This is the head, right? So that's why a lot of Aries will be ahead of people, or they can see things before they actually happen, right? So that, not only that, but they are very personality orientated. So they really not associated, but they're more so, how do I say this? Like the Aries constellation is more so about focusing on yourself. This is like the self-development, basically. You know what I'm saying? This is realize that, oh, I am a human. I am. This is, first house rules the I am, you know. So whatever you associate with I am this, then that's, you're asserting yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is not like the Libra where it's like, oh, you should tell me what, oh, I'm seeing myself from your lenses, that type of thing. Aries is more so the self asserting or self reassuring type of thing. It's always going to deal with the self, basically. Ne? Then we have Mars, and we know Mars is about passion, your will, your intention, you know, your willpower, the fuel that you have to do things. You know what I'm saying? It's the anger and hate. Because the opposite of that would be Venus, which would be love and appreciation and admiration. So the opposite of that would also, with the Mars thing, Mars would be self-assurance, right? Would be being selfish, being self-preserving. Capricorn too also, but that's because Capricorn is exalted in Mars, you know. So it's all about the self and preserving yourself and making sure that you are good first before you can cater to anybody else, right? So that's the Aries constellation. So, and it's a fire sign, and it's a cardinal fire sign, right? And we know cardinal means initiating, starting things. So if it's fire, it's initiating new ways of how to see and feel about shit. And by see, I actually mean like the vision of something. That's why fire signs can, like they more so see your body language as opposed to seeing what you're, or I don't know, listening to what you're saying. They're seeing your body expression, and then they can see from your body expression what to expect you to do, like in the future. For example, if I'm just like for example, if I'm at a party or whatever, if I'm at a party or if I'm at home, or let's just say, let's use the party example. If I'm at a party and I'm bored as fuck, right? Now, an Aries person will read my body language, right? Already be ahead, like, or even already make up in their head the day I had thus far, so that I could be bored, right? So they'd probably in their head be like, oh, okay, so she's sitting down there looking all bored and shit. So she probably, I don't know, she probably didn't do this, or she probably didn't do that, or maybe she just didn't have alcohol. Especially if that Aries knows you. Like, if an Aries knows you to be a very flamboyant person, then they'll already know how to, like, put two and two together and figure out why you were in the state that you were in, right? But it could also be in a situation, but like in a situation where you are speaking to an Aries, right? They're paying attention to your energy, right? Because the Aries constellation is exalted in the sun and the fifth house, which is the energy, like the fifth house and the sun, that is your vitality, that is your energy. Like our sun signs is the energy we give out to people. So because Aries is exalted in that energy, they have an innate and a bigger awareness of picking up on people's energies. And because it's the first house is there, you know, they're very quick on like kind of putting two and two together based on the energy that you're giving. So that's why I use the example about if you were just sitting down bored, they can put two and two together as to why you came to that conclusion of just sitting down and being bored, right? And if they know you, then they'll probably know what to do or what to give you, or the energy to give you to kind of like put you in a better spirit, or put you in a lighter spirit, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So then we have Mercury also, right? So Mercury, we know Mercury is thinking, communicating, analyzing, right? Motherfucking how you process information, you know, how you break down and analyze information. You know, if I tell you, dude, I ate food today, in your head you're gonna process that information, and then if I go into detail saying I had avocado toast, I had a smoothie, then in your head you can already picture, like, you can put the details together of, okay, because you know me, or maybe you don't know me, but you can somewhat like process the words that I'm saying, right? And you can also hear me, which is also a Mercury thing, right? And you can like talk to me back, which is also a Mercury thing. You know what I'm saying? Like right now I'm communicating and I'm giving you information, and this is all Mercury, and my hands too, because this is all Virgo, and then this is the Gemini part, and then like the lungs also, because that's the thing that gives air and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So if we put like, or not if we put, but basically Mercury is really just about processing information and how you process information, and then how you give out information, and then the style that you give it out in, you know. So the style would be depending on the sign and the house that you have Mercury in. So we're gonna do Mercury in Aries, right? So let's just jump in. Now that I've already explained Mercury and Aries. If we put the two together, if we put all of that shit that I said about Aries, and then if I put all of that shit I said about Mercury together, we have somebody who thinks and analyzes in energy, right? And not so much moods, because I realize people with their Mercury in a water sign or Mercury in a water house, they usually process information based on the feeling that they're like receiving from someone. So if, for example, I could be like a blank Capricorn, typical Capricorn person, and everything I say is just very dry and bland. A water sign won't necessarily care about the fact that it's dry and it's bland. They're really necessarily gonna pick up on how I felt, like the feeling that I said it in. So I could be bland, but because water signs have a natural innate ability to like connect to people's emotions, they'll like kind of, you know, neglect the, oh, okay, I was bland when I said it. But fire signs pay attention to how you say something. It's kind of similar to water signs, but not necessarily, because fire signs are going to pick up on the energy that you're giving it in, the body expression, you know, the actual creative expression that you're saying it in. Now, I have an example for someone who has an Aries Mercury, and that's DC Young Fly from Wild 'N Out. He's a Taurus sun, Taurus moon, but he's Mercury's in Aries. Now, if you pay attention to, like, he's very funny naturally. Now, all fire Mercuries are fucking hilarious and very honest, except Mercury in Leo. But okay, essentially, other than being really funny, not necessarily honest, well, okay, Mercury in Sag and Aries are very, very brutally honest, but Mercury in Leo will be a lot more considerate because they have that sextile with Libra. Sag also has that sextile with Libra, but I think Sag has a greater sextile with Aquarius, which is also a very honest sign. But other than that, we're not talking about Libra right now, we're talking about Aries. So if you pay attention to DC Young Fly, right, how he says something, it's always on some loud, like, you know what I'm saying? He's very loud, he's very funny, but he's also very consistent in, like, delivering whatever he's saying, like, delivering that particular message, right? So, and I think that also has to do with the Taurus consistency, because he doesn't want to, like, for example, you know, in Wild 'N Out, like, if you say a joke, if you deliver a joke, you can't give up on it. And if it's kind of whack, you kind of have to make it work somehow, right? But just for the very fact of DC Young Fly, or just saying a joke and kind of delivering that joke with a specific intention, or like kind of already, like, whenever he says something, it's like he has a picture of how he wants that shit to be delivered, and then he says it in that particular way. Because also we know, like, Mars is all about the intention, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mars is all about, like, delivering, as I said, the feel of something. So having Mars, well, Aries, which is ruled by Mars, in a Mercury, kind of, whenever you say something, it's like there has to be an intention with saying something. It's not like Mercury in Libra, where sometimes, or even any Mercury sign, maybe not Aquarius, but let's say Mercury in Gemini and Mercury in Libra. More so Mercury in Libra, where sometimes you can just say something, but there's no point to what you're saying. You're just saying something to, like, release it out in the air. So then people are looking at you like, okay. So for example, like, I'm a Mercury in Libra, so I can give you this perfect example. It's like, I could say, like, today I had a sandwich. And then people are looking at me like, and Aries Mercury would look at me like, okay, so, like, what are we supposed to do with that information? Like, what do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to if I say, I had a sandwich today and that shit felt so good, and I had a sandwich because I really wanted that shit. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Then an Aries and Mercury can be like, oh, okay, cool. That's lit. Like, and then because this is how we see Mercury and Aries people process information like this. And because it's about the self, because Mercury and Aries are about like the self, it's like the first house constellation with Mars and fire. Because it's in the first house, they know how to like put themselves in your shoes, and that's how they can understand the world around them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like they can, going back to that example I made, they can see me sitting down at a party bored as fuck. They can put, it's like they can put themselves in my shoes and be like, oh, okay, if I did this the whole day, I probably would be tired, and I probably would only go to this party because I'm trying to see someone. But I'd only go to that party and see someone, and after I see them, I'll just sit down and be bored because I don't really necessarily want to be here. So that's probably why that person was sitting there, and that's why they were probably bored. And you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not like a Pisces Libra where they can put yourself in in your shoes, where it's in a way of like kind of relating, or in a way of like accommodating your needs, you know. And Aries is more so just to understand, like, okay, you are in that, not necessarily to cater to how you feeling, but then again, that will depend on if they have Taurus, right? Because then, or Pisces, you know, then they can like accommodate your feelings. But it's not necessarily like putting themselves in your shoes to accommodate your mood. It's more so putting themselves in your shoes to understand where you're coming from, but then still having an individual point of view of how they're going to deal with you, or still having an individual point of view of how they're going to even communicate with you, you know, that type of thing. So it's not like, as I said, it's not like Libra or Pisces where they understand where you're coming from, so then they change how they talk to you so that, you know, you feel comfortable. Nah, that's not what Aries and Mercury are going to do. They know where you're coming from, but they're still going to answer you and speak to you the way they want to as an individual. That type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, Mercury and Aries people are, like I said, they're very, very, very honest people, and I think they can be honest to like a default. It's not like Sagittarius honesty, where because like they, you know, Jupiter is ruled by truths and higher truths, and it's the 9th house, so it's all about like, you know, the bigger picture or whatever. Aries truth, brutal honesty has to do with the Martian type of thing, you know. It's like they're going straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think with Aries, it's more so just getting straight to the point than it is with being honest, you know. I think Sagittarius is more so honest, even though it really will look like the same thing essentially. I think they're coming from different places, but because they're also the fire sign, so it'll, you know what I'm saying, that's why they have this trying thing. But it's more so about, like, with Aries, it's more so about getting to the fucking point. It's not about like Libra, who will talk around the truth, or even Gemini, who will speak around the truth, or like, you know, take you on this huge journey to get to some. Aries is like, let's just say it as it is, you know, let's not waste time, let's just boom, burn through the truth. And that's fire. Fire signs like to burn through the fucking truth, and they could see what, it's like, that's why, you know, fire signs know when, or sometimes, especially when they're a lot older, obviously with experiences, but they'll know when you're lying because they can see it. They can actually see what you, especially with like air signs, because, you know, us air signs can, like, I say us air signs, but I mean, technically I'm an air sign. But like, air signs can have this tendency, as I said, to speak around the truth, or they can have this tendency of like just not getting to the point quick enough, you know. So they have to, like, I don't know, say a whole bunch of words, and to their own respects, because air signs have a lot to say, you know what I'm saying. But an Aries can filter through all of that and just be like, oh, you just wanted to say you're hungry. Why did you have to tell me about, damn, my stomach is growling and I just feel like when my stomach growls I get tired. No, don't say that. Just say you're fucking hungry and you want food. Like, just say it as it is. Just throw it to me as it is. Like, let's just burn through all the unnecessary sugar coating. Also, Aries and Mercury don't really sugarcoat, and that's one thing. And me as a Mercury in Libra, I sugarcoat like a fucking baker. Listen, I sugarcoat like bakers sugarcoat fucking ice cream and cookies and all of that shit, dude. And Mercury and Aries, they would hate that shit. Like, Mercury and Aries energy, period, just doesn't like anything that isn't delivered to it exactly as it is. Like, And Sagittarius energy too, and I keep mentioning Sagittarius because of like the trine, so you guys can kind of put two and two together. But basically it's really just about like delivering it exactly as it is, as raw, as uncooked as uncooked as it is, you know, just deliver it exactly as it is, so that it's like, and I can respect this because like the Gemini in me and the Aquarius in me that sextiles the Aries energy understands like, okay, it is a lot better to just like be honest or just ask exactly what it is that you want rather than manipulating, because also manipulating, you have to like continue and be consistent with that, you know. And I feel like Aries energies can see when someone, like, they can hear it, oh, they can see it, like as someone is speaking, they can hear when someone is about to manipulate them, or they can hear or see, you know, like what someone's true intentions are. Because as I said, we have Mars in Mercury now, right? And we know Mars is all about the intention, and this is something that Mercury in Aries will share with Mercury in Scorpio, or people with their Mercury in the 8th house or even the 1st house, where you can kind of just see someone's intention, you know. Whenever someone is speaking to you, you can already kind of sense their intention behind what they're saying. And because Aries is a fire sign, they're ahead of like people, right? So this is also the impulsive part of the Aries Mercury person, where, because usually, or let's say most of the time, they can already see where a conversation is going, or they can already see what someone is trying to say, you know. They can get impulsive and like talk, like, for example, if I'm like, yo, I'm so, and then the Mercury and Aries will be like, yeah, you're hungry, we know. But then they may not know that, okay, I wasn't gonna say I'm hungry, I was gonna say I'm so tired, you know. And then they can get like, I don't know, then that's when they kind of get embarrassed, because it's like, oh shit, there I go again, saying shit before I thought about it, you know. I mean, sometimes it can be really funny, don't get me wrong. Aries energy, especially in like the big, like your big three and the inner planets, can be really like make a really funny person, because like just that impulsive childlike nature, you know. It's like an innocent type of thing. I mean, of course, like, if you're not necessarily trying to be a nice person with a Mercury and Aries, like, you're able to use your Martian words and, you know, cut someone's throat and be very mean and be very brutally honest and be like bully type of person, you know, and not really care about it because, hey, whatever. But I think for the most part, they don't necessarily mean to be like that, especially if they're your homie, they're just like having fun or whatever. You obviously sometimes would have to set boundaries with them and make, like, demand respect from a Mercury and Aries person. But I think one way of like asserting your dominance with a Mercury and Aries person is by showing them that you believe in what you're saying. Because one thing about Mercury fire signs is that if you don't feel and if you don't believe in what you're saying, then they're not going to believe it either. Like, for example, if I'm insecure, and you know, sometimes like when we're young, we get like, I know, because we're traumatized from our family members, like we can kind of be shy, and whenever you say something, you kind of have this like little instinct of like doubt or self-doubt, or, you know, you speak softly or you mumble because sometimes you're afraid of people like hearing you, or you're afraid of attention, and you like kind of like, hey guys, I just think we should you know, that type of thing. Like a Mercury and Aries will like, they'll be so mad at that, you know. And then either they'll like speak over you and they say something that they like, you know, or they'll fucking, I don't know, they'll look at you like, yo. Anyway, no, you know, that's fuck, yeah. And they won't feel bad because it's really, see, one thing about the Aries energy, it's like, how do I say this? It's like the first initial awareness, but it just came from Pisces, and we know Pisces is about like the collective feeling. So they still, Aries energies can like, they understand like, like I said, because they are energy orientated, right? It's like they're going off of whatever energy you're giving them, or whatever energy that they're picking up. So if you're giving them when you speak, if you're giving them the energy, or if they pick up that, you're about to be insecure, or you don't believe in what you say, or you're not really feeling what you're saying, then they're gonna give you that same energy, but it's gonna be a lot more iffy because of Mars. And you know, Mars is really harsh and like kind of aggressive. So if they don't fuck with you, they're gonna show you, or they're gonna let you know somehow with their words, with their very sharp words. And because they have that sextile with Aquarius, and we know Aquarius and Gemini can have very sharp words, they're gonna use that sextile, and with that Mars influence, they're gonna really hurt you with their words or hurt you with their actions. You know what I'm saying? And most of their actions, if they have their Mercury conjuncting their Sun, or their Mercury conjuncting Mars in Aries. So if it's like a Mars and Mercury in Aries with their Mars in Aries, then you're gonna feel that too. Especially when they're angry, you're gonna fucking feel those sharp words, my boy. Yeah. If somebody has their Mars in their Mercury in Aries in the first house, then they're a lot more. They're prone to be a lot. Okay, you can't necessarily be. I guess you can, but it's mostly about thinking about yourself. Oh man. Okay, let me put it like this, right? If someone with their Mercury in Aries can be selfish, thinking about themselves a lot, talking about shit that only they relate to themselves with. So they probably like talking with people who share the same similarities, like personal shit as them. This is not like Libra energy where even if they had known nothing about you, they can somehow relate to you, or make you feel like you're heard, or just make you feel like, yeah, I get you, that type of thing. Aries energy is more so about they fuck with people. Not to say that they'll be completely rude or standoffish to people that don't see things the way that they see them, but it's more so if someone can think the way that Aries person thinks, then they fuck with those people a lot more. And it's not as I was saying, it's not even a Gemini where they can know absolutely nothing you're saying, but they can still somehow formulate ideas around what you're saying and still relate to you in that way. Aries energy is Mars, it's Martian, and Mars is like I said, it's the opposite of Venus. So that relatability is a lot more difficult for Aries and Scorpios, and even Capricorn sometimes to attain, So it's more so they would like to fuck with people that share the same goals as them, or that feel the same ways that they feel. But the thing is because they're so self-orientated, most people don't know what they feel, or most people can't relate to what they feel because how they feel. An Aries will be completely individualistic. And obviously not to say that Aries will be the only person in the whole world who feels that way. No ways, dude. There's no fucking ways. But I'm just saying, it will be one of those situations where it's one, one person in every 5 group, maybe. If I'm an Mercury and Aries person, and I had a Gemini Mercury person, that Gemini Mercury person would probably find and be a lot more friendly quicker than I would be, because I would be a lot more, I guess, aggressive, or a lot more, aggressive in asserting how I think about things, and kind of also forcing people to think and see the way I see about them. And then when they don't, then I get fucking upset. And that's one thing about motherfucking Mercury and Aries, that they can get very upset. They can get upset when people don't get to the point. They get irritated, and then they get very restless and impulsive. B, they can just get really fucking bored and then leave you alone altogether. C, they'll just be mean to you and say random shit about you to your face. That's one thing I really appreciate. That's something I'm learning as a Mercury in Libra person. It's just to say it as it is. I'm really, really working with Mercury and Aries though. They are all about themselves. I feel Mercury and Aries people love talking about themselves. If they're not joking around, because essentially those jokes have to do with how they see things, because they are very animated. They are exalted in the Sun, or the 5th house. The 5th house, that's their exaltation place, expressing themselves. So I feel that's why they're so funny. And that's why they can be really funny. And that's why, when they're honest, they can be, the most funniest people ever. As I've said, DC Young Fly is a good example. And Martin Lawrence, he's a Mercury in Aries. Fucking hilarious. He's honest. Just him saying anything, he's very funny. But I can tell that he's probably very but he's an Aries sun sign and a Scorpio moon with an Aries Mercury. So, Martin Lawrence. But DC Young Fly, he's a Taurus sun and moon. I also know of a dude. He's a Taurus sun, Aries moon, and an Aries Mercury. And at one time we went to this party, right? I went to this party with him, and usually, like, I used to smoke cigarettes, right? So we used to just bum cigarettes from each other. But this is how I knew, like, not necessarily knew, but this kind of confirmed, like, okay, the Aries energy is really gonna take care of themselves first. So he had, okay, let me tell you how I would have handled the situation with my Venus, Libra, and Venus, Mercury. I mean, Libra, Mercury, right? If somebody had to ask, let's say I had 2 cigarettes left, right? If somebody had to ask me for one, I'd probably give it to them, right? Because I'd be like, nah, I can get it somewhere else, or I can go bum a cigarette from someone else, whatever. But a Mercury and Aries, if they have 2 cigarettes left, they thinking about themselves. They thinking, okay, shit, I know I'm going to want to smoke when I get home, and I know I'm going to want to smoke now. So if I give someone a ciggy, then I can't smoke later, and I have to compromise, you know? I have to compromise. So me, I would compromise, but a Mercury and Aries won't compromise, because guess what? They're thinking about themselves first. And there's nothing wrong with that, essentially, because, I mean, like, that guy really had a valid reason to not give me a cigarette. That's the example. Like, an Aries person is going to really think about themselves first, you know? Obviously, we know that they're very impulsive in the things that they say. So, I mean, I guess as they get older, they get better, maybe, at controlling what they say. But I don't really think so. I really don't think so. I have not met an old Aries Mercury person that thinks before they say anything. If you know of an Aries Mercury person who does that, please drop me their IG so I can link with them and be like, yo, what's good? How'd you do that? But for the most part, I'll say they get kind of better, but they still have that, like, impulsive nature. Of course, it's going to be modified, because if you have your Mercury in Aries conjuncting Saturn in Aries, then that's going to be like, you'll probably be one of those quieter Aries, because you do get, like, Aries that, you know, they're not as Mercury in Aries people who weren't like, they're not loud, or they're not, like, very impulsive to say something to you. And that's obviously because of other aspects. Like, as I said, if you have your Mercury in Aries conjuncting Saturn in Aries, and I know people who Saturn in Aries is like the 1997, 1998 generation, maybe even 1996. But yeah, if you have that, then you're probably a lot more disciplined, or a lot more, you know, you probably, let me say, the Aries who don't, or who aren't as impulsive to say something, they probably, like, they're impulsive to, like, they're quickly jumping to conclusions in their head, like, internally, you know. They're like, they know what someone is trying to say, or they know what someone is going to say. Maybe they may, as I said, maybe they may not, like, jump to quickly say something, or say something before someone else says something, like a typical Mercury in Aries would. But they'll, in their head, internally, they'll be like, oh, okay, I know what you're trying to say. That type of thing, you know. So it could also be like an internal experience for all my Aries out there who are a lot more quiet, you know. But I feel like even those quiet Aries, they sometimes they know how to get out of that quiet shell and, like, really tell you is exactly as it is, you know what I'm saying, that type of thing. But yeah, I feel like for the most part, I feel like I've covered most of it. That's Mercury and Aries, you guys. These guys are super, super honest. It's because, like, they see through, they burn through the extra bullshit, and they know how to get to the point as quickly as they can. And that's why they really, especially, like, if they're in classes and stuff, like, if they're in school, they're very quick with, like, learning things. These are, like, the A students. I'm also thinking of Devi from Never Have I Ever. I think she's definitely an Aries with a Mercury in Aries, because she's very quick. She's quick to pick things up and learn things, right? Because that's the thing with Mercury in Aries. It's kind of like Mercury in Gemini, where they're very quick with, like, information, you know. Aries, so if we have, like, this quick Aries in this quick Mercury planet, it's very, like, they're very quick at picking shit up, and it can be very impulsive. But also sometimes they can, like, they can burn themselves out by, I don't know, thinking that they know what something, like it's like they can burn themselves out anticipating what something is gonna be, without really taking the time to sit down and, like, really digest it. But this really, I think this energy is a lot better when you have, like, some planets in Taurus, like, especially if you're a Taurus sun with the Mercury in Aries, then you're able to kind of, like, you know, slow it down. Or especially if you have, like, your Venus in Taurus, you know, or even your Mars in Taurus, or even fucking Moon in Taurus, my dude, even motherfucking rising in Taurus. As long as you have some Taurus in you, like, or even Earth, like, especially Capricorn. Not if you have Virgo, you're probably very quick with saying something. Like Pink, I'm pretty sure Pink is very quick to say something. But yeah, that's that energy for the most part. Yeah, I think I'm done. So in my next video, as I said, I'm gonna do Mercury and Aries through the houses, and then you should check that out after you watch this video.